everybody. This video is going to be for the first half of lesson 19. If you've made it this far, you've realized lesson 19 for the first part is just explaining some terms we're going to use. Then you get to a part that tells you to use delta math. And so this video is just to help you with the delta math. Some of you might be able to just read through this and do the assignment without any help. But if you needed some direction on how to do those problems, I'm going to kind of put it all together for you. So let's start off with a midsegment. So a midsegment, it's a segment whose endpoints are the midpoints of two sides of a triangle. So that might sound kind of complicated when you first hear it, but once you see it and understand it, it's very simple. So it's just saying, if I have a triangle, let's go to the midpoints. So the middle of this side, you could say, is right there. The middle of this side is right there. I'm eyeballing this. If I was going to be perfect, I'd measure them. And then if you connect the dots, you make what we call a midsegment, okay? So that's all a midsegment is. Just take two midpoints of two sides of a triangle and connect the dots. So right here, if M is the midpoint of KJ, and then if N is the midpoint of KL, then this length right here, MN, is the midpoint of is a midsegment of the triangle. Now, using this, we can use the triangle midsegment theorem, which tells us a couple of things. First off, it tells us that this midsegment will be parallel to this base down here, the third side, the side it's not touching. It also tells us, this is the thing that we'll be using a lot, that this will always be half of the side it's parallel to. Okay, so the midsegment will be half of the base that's down below it. And then also, because this is a midpoint, you know that this half has to equal this half. And then this half KN has to equal NL. But mainly for the delta math assignment, we're going to use the fact that this length MN will be half of JL. So let's look at the first assignment. I'm going to look at one of the problems on here. So they tell us we have a triangle. They tell me that G is the midpoint of DE. Okay, so G is the middle. And then H is the midpoint of EF. So H is in the middle of EF. So we know this is a midsegment. So we can use everything about the midsegment theorem. They tell me that GH is 5x minus 34. So I'm going to write that. Actually, the one that I drew for you, I'm just going to use this figure. So we have GH, we have DF, and they tell me that GH is 5x minus 34. And they tell me that DF is 20 minus x. So they want us to find the measure of DF. All right, so let's let me go back here so you can see what I'm drawing. So I've labeled what we have, GH, DF, and we need to find DF. So what do we know about the relationship between GH and DF? We know that GH is half of DF. Or in other words, if you double GH, you should get DF. So let's take this. Let's do 2 times the 5x minus 34 equals 20 minus x. Okay, you see that? So just double whatever GH is, and that should give you whatever DF is. So now let's solve. 2 times 5x will give us 10x minus 68 equals 20 minus x. And then let's do plus x. So 11x minus 68 equals 20. And then right here we do plus 68. Plus 68. And so we get 11x equals 88. So then divide by 11 on both sides. You still see what I'm doing? Yeah, you can see that. Let me zoom it in so it's a little bigger. And then we have x is going to equal 8. Okay, so we have what x equals. But the question wanted us to find df right here. So let's solve for df. So df, the equation for df is 20 minus x. And we know that x is 8. So then we have 20 minus 8. And we simply get 12. Okay, so that's how you use the triangle midsegment theorem. So let's go back to the delta math problem. Plug in 12. And it's happy. So that's how we set up these problems and solve them. So this is the first half. So go ahead, log into delta math if you didn't already. You'll see there's 2 parts to the assignment. So do the part with the triangle midsegment theorem. There's 3 questions. You'll need to get 3 in a row correct. And then you can go to the next video and do the next portion of this assignment.